Well, lawmakers and activists are calling for international support of the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. One America's John Hines spoke to Representative Scott Perry to learn more about Washington's efforts.
Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry tells One America News now that the Chinese Communist Party has broken its legal agreement to honor Hong Kong's freedoms, it's time for the United States to designate Hong Kong an independent, free nation.
Obviously, China is not living up to their agreement. When I say China, Beijing and the Communist Party. So at this point, since Beijing is not going to comply with their own agreement, it's time for Hong Kong to be viewed as a separate state, a separate nation. And my legislation would do that, would regard them that way.
Regard them that way, says Perry, meaning that Hong Kong could operate autonomously and in the fashion they had been accustomed to before the imposition of a new national security law, which hands the government almost unchecked legal power in the former British Crown colony.
It's kind of like the straw that has broken the camel's back. Beijing and the Communist Party have been derelict in keeping in the terms of the agreement for some time, ever since it was signed. They started actually walking away from the agreement at that time. But this is the most egregious step by far, and just simply is one that we cannot abide. So it just happens to be timely and appropriate.
Timely and appropriate, just as the Trump administration has decertified Hong Kong for not being sufficiently autonomous from China, has announced an end to the sale of military equipment and other technologies to Hong Kong, as well as visa restrictions on Chinese officials considered responsible for limiting freedoms there, and suspending preferential treatment and export license exceptions for Hong Kong. Now the next logical step could be to simply recognize Hong Kong as an independent city-state, according to Perry. So this might, in essence, then recognize Hong Kong as a separate country, kind of a city-state, similar perhaps to Singapore.
Absolutely, and that's actually the intent. I mean, we want to stand by the free people of the world and against the Communist Party of China, and this is the clearest, easiest path to do that. And even if China refuses it, if Beijing and the Communist Party refuse to recognize it, it doesn't mean the rest of the world can't recognize it and then support it in that regard.
In the short run, few expect China's emboldened leadership to blink. But in the long run, the hope is that pressure from the administration and lawmakers like Perry on Capitol Hill will lead to change. John Hines, One America News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.